Hey beauties, it's Cinnamon with the Stiletto series, and in today, things on my ear. Today we're going to do some Q&A. I want to thank you so much for emailing your questions in. If you are on the Stiletto series newsletter, sign up. And just a couple housekeeping things before we jump into content. This is live streaming, so you know how that works. Sometimes technology works with us and sometimes it doesn't. But if you have any questions during the live part of this, please type your questions in the comment sections of the YouTube video and I will be able to see that live. Also, if you still have the email letting you know that this was going on from the Stiletto series, you can reply back to that email with your question. Either way, I'll see it because I still have the other monitor up. So let's get started. In this particular Q&A, we're going to talk about how to do business with the government, how to start selling products online and offline, and then how to increase book sales. So I know I told you in the email, some of you, that you can join in with me, but I kind of pulled this last minute because I just came from out of town and I wasn't really ready. So I'm going to be on here by my lonesome. But if you have any questions, again, go ahead and type them in the comment section. So I got a lot of questions that was emailed from you all, and I want to thank you so much for taking the time to do that. But I pulled out questions that seemed like they could be general enough that hopefully it could apply to you and your business. So I'm going to do a screen share. The first part we're going to talk about is doing business with the government. All right, screen share, and I do that right here, and awesome. Okay, so this is SBA.gov. Let me pull this up a little bit. SBA is going to be one of those websites that if you plan on really, well, doing anything with the business, not necessarily if you're trying to do any entrepreneurship endeavors, but particularly if you were doing anything with the business, you want to check out SBA.gov. Also, SBA.gov gives you a lot of information as to where to register your business, how to get an employer identification number, and all those things. So right now, if you could take a look at this, let me tell you who asked this question. This is PJ, who wants to do business with the federal government. She has Department of Justice, Department of Defense, and Department of Ed were some of the branches that she wanted to do business with. So this is SBA's website, and this is Content Government Contracting Field Staff Directory, okay? And you scroll down here, and you get a whole explanation of a bunch of the acronyms that consist with the government. The government, federal government, is full of acronyms, and you need to know their language. But the great thing about these are basically the center representatives for procurement. Anytime some type of contract comes out, there's usually a person responsible for it. And if you take the time to peruse through this page, you'll find the names, the telephone numbers, and the addresses of various people in charge of contracting with the federal government. So that was one thing. And here's another website. This is osdbu.gov. When I was doing government, my first company was government certified. I think it was called SADBU office, which I guess that's kind of still what this is, because this is the Small and Disadvantaged Business Utilization Directors Center. So SADBU is what it used to be called like 10 years ago. That's the acronym we used to use it. I guess they stopped using that. But this is also a great website to get a lot more understanding as to how you fit in as a small business and where to go. So this website will give you a ton of information. So I recommend that you peruse this and find out when they're having certain workshops and that type of thing. So again, that's osdbu.gov. And then I also want to show you, this is just Department of Education. Again, this is a federal agency, and if you see here, there's the Office for Small and Disadvantaged Business Utilization. This is the SADBU office that I was telling you about, and let me just pull this off. Hold on one second. And let's make sure you could see this domain address. I'm going to give you time to look at that. So you can go to this. You could just really just Google Small Disadvantaged Business, Federal Government, Department of Ed, and you'll be able to come up with that website, but you can look at it right there as well. So again, the reason why I wanted to show you those websites is every every agency, every federal agency has a small disadvantaged business representative. You want to find out who that person is. It's all over the internet. They give you their address. They give you their telephone number, each division of the federal government. So I know you have that you want to do business with, a lot of them, Department of Justice, Department of Defense, and Department of Ed in regards to training. I think if you're viewing this live, PJ, just throw some more comments or questions that you have for this, but I'm going to talk to you based on the information that you provided. So you said you want to do training. Now, training is very broad, and I know I kind of beat in you guys' head that you really need to know who your customer is, because the things that the Department of Ed does, the things the Department of Defense does, and things the Department are completely different. So when it comes to even marketing, you have to be able to tell your clients why they would want to choose you, and you don't want to assume that everyone is your client. So what I would recommend that you do, I'm not sure what kind of training you offer, but what I recommend that you do is check out those various branches of the government and look at their small disadvantaged business section website like we just did. Also find that representative within that agency. You are going to ask them, when do they have their small disadvantaged workshops or conferences or trade shows, because the federal government is always doing that. And the small business representative will be the one to tell you how to do it. Become friends with this person, because if you ever have any questions or you want to know how to do something, that's that person's job to help guide you through the whole process, okay? So that's if you want to do business with the government. It's not that hard. You just want to make sure that you're giving a quality product and that you are reaching out to the necessary branches that have your services. So what you may find is, if you want to do a training, again, I'm not sure what kind, there's going to be certain RFPs, requests for proposals, or procurement requests that come out. You want to determine which branch has more of those types of RFPs that relate to your business. So for example, if you're doing training, maybe Department of Ed has more training procurements or requests for proposals than Department of Defense. Defense may do more, I don't know, what, something more defense-like. Where Department of Ed may be more of your federal government that does the type of training that you offer. So of the various departments that you referred to, figure out which one has your niche and concentrate on that. It would be a lot easier to focus on one of the agencies instead of trying to focus on 4 of them, because every agency does things differently. So find out which one has more procurement in your area of training. And most of the federal government contracts that come out and that are awarded are public information. They're all over the internet. And if you go to the small business SADBU, I keep thinking of SADBU because that's what they call it, small disadvantaged something business, whatever it was, I just you can go there and talk to the representative there, and that he or she can give you all the information that you will need. You want to see what type of contracts have come out in your area over the past 5 years, because you may want to do business with this particular agency, but they don't typically put contracts out for what you do. So you need to find that out before you go through the whole process of attempting to do business with them. Hope that makes sense. Again, if you are viewing this live, just go ahead and throw questions if you want me to follow up with that. And anyone else watching this, feel free to throw questions while you're live. If you're looking at the recording of this, you can throw some questions on there, and I tend to come back and comment on that. So also, as it relates to the federal government, you want to see, I have my notes over here, and I probably should have put my notes on the computer. I didn't do that. Yeah, so you want to check and see what other certifications will help you basically rank better when it comes to receiving contracts. And let me make that make sense. So there's certain certifications. You can do an 8A certification, which is typically for minority firms. You can do a veteran-owned, women business-owned certification. And if you want to do that, you want to check with SBA to see what the process is to get qualified in those various certifications. So basically what happens when an RFP comes out, certain points are awarded to certain certifications that you have. And if they're requesting that there's a minority firm or a veteran firm to work on the contract, you are going to be assisted in overall getting the contract. Does that make sense? So if they're asking for veterans, or they'll give more points for veterans, and you're a firm of a veteran, then you're putting yourself at a better position than if you are not. And they have those various set-asides for those type of firms. So if you want to get those type of certifications, look into that, see which ones you qualify for, and then go ahead and get them. And you can do a lot of partnerships with the certifications of other businesses that want to offer various services, and they may want to do a collaboration because you hold a certain certification. So it's a bunch of ideas and good opportunities you could use when you do that. So I hope that helps, at least a little bit. But again, just to recap, if you want to do business with the government, I advise that you go to SBA. You want to see what type of certifications you can qualify for with your business. But more importantly, get in touch with a small disadvantaged business representative of the government agency that you are interested in doing business with. Become friends with that person, because their whole job is to help entrepreneurs and small businesses navigate through the interesting paperwork and process of doing business with the federal government. So if you go to sba.gov, you can find out what office is close to you. Of course, you know, I'm here in the Washington, D.C. area, so it's like down the street, so it's easy for us. But they have various offices all over the country. So see which office is close to you. Talk to the people, check out SCORE. I can't remember what the acronym stands for, but it's basically retired executives that their whole job is to volunteer and help small businesses kind of get contracts. So look into those things. And again, don't underestimate the power of Google. If you don't know something, just Google it and tons of stuff will come up. But I definitely would recommend first going to the SADBU, so not the name anymore, small disadvantaged business person representative of the agency that you are interested in doing business with. So hope that helps. Again, if you have any comments now or later, just type them in the YouTube box and I'll get that. All right, so if you are just joining us live, which I see people coming in, again, housekeeping, this is live streaming, maybe a little delay or a little glitch, don't let that alarm you. This will be available for recording, the same link in which we're looking at it live. You can also look at the recording. We just finished touching up on how to do business with the federal government. I probably can wrap everything up in a bit. And if this is helpful, let me know. I know I get emails from you all sometimes and I don't get to respond, but I still love you. So I'm trying to see if this method is easier for everyone, and if we keep doing this and it's helpful, then I'll keep doing it. If not, then we'll find another way to make sure you guys get what you need. All right, so Andrea, she's interested in selling products online. She has a accessory business, so want to give you some recommendations with that. She said she's not a social media maven, and you don't have to be. It's interesting because everyone feels like you have to be on social media to sell products, and that's not actually true. It depends on where your customers are, and that's where you need to advertise your products. Not everyone's on social media. When I talk about determining your ideal client, the reason why I say that, and I keep beating it in your head, is because if you don't determine who your ideal client is, you can't market to them effectively. So for example, I had a client that was doing continuing education courses, but they were cruises, and the average ticket was about $10,000 to $15,000. So naturally, that's going to be a certain age demographic. They can afford a $10,000 ticket, who's going to be doing continuing education. They're going to be an older clientele. And a lot of them aren't on social media. They're not on Twitter. They may not even be on Facebook. So that's not necessarily the place that he needs to be. And when he contacts me, everyone says I need to be on social media. Maybe you don't. Like, where are your customers? So if you don't determine like the demographics of your customers, you're going to do a lot of busy work. You're going to spend a whole bunch of time on social media, and it's not going to be effective. So don't feel like you have to spend all this time on social media in order for your business to be effective. Companies were making a ton of money before the whole internet became accessible to all of us, okay? So don't get concerned of the latest social media stuff that's out there. Just don't get distracted by shiny objects. So let me tell you some things that you can do. You talked about selling some products online, but what I encourage you to do is find out what's going on in your local area as it relates to fashion. check out Google some fashion bloggers in your local area. Start to introduce yourself, network with them, and find out what's going on. So also any boutiques that you have in your area, it would be a good thing to kind of introduce yourself and something I want to show you. You want to introduce yourself and show them some of your work. Because if you're doing a boutique versus a large store, it's a lot easier to get in the door because the boutique owner is usually a small business owner. If they like it, they'll buy it. Trunk shows and flea markets, you want to participate in those type of activities so that you can start to get your name out there and let people know that you sell your accessories. I didn't get a lot of information about your accessories, so this is very general information, but I hope it's helpful. Find local fashion bloggers. One of the things I would really recommend, you guys know I love me some YouTube, so you can create a YouTube channel if you don't already have one, and you can show viewers how they can use various accessories to dress up or dress down a particular outfit. So let's say you have a V-neck shirt versus a boat neck shirt? See, I don't know about fashion. A boat neck shirt. Like, what accessories would someone wear versus this versus that? If you want to dress up a black dress or dress it down, what accessories do you use? So start to show people how they can do that with the accessories that you own, and then of course put a link so people can either come back to your website or whatever. If you're doing trunk shows or in-person events, you got to get one of these. This is square, and you just stick this in your phone like that. And my phone's dirty. Ew. You stick this in your phone like that, and you can swipe credit cards on the spot. People have, say they like square, or sometimes they have issues. All of them kind of suck, to be honest with you. So you just need to try it out and get a backup plan. But this, I don't do like massive amounts on this. I usually do most of my sales online, and I invoice people, so I don't have to do it that much. But if I'm speaking somewhere and I'm selling some books or courses, I always have this. Like, keep this in your purse at all times because you don't know when you're going to get a sale. So that's Square. You can go to, I think it's squareup.com, and you can set up a free account. They send you a free credit card swiper, and you just need I think you can do it on Android too. I know you can do it on all Apple devices because that's what I have. Not that I'm all pushing Apple, but it is what it is. So yeah, do that. Definitely look at flea markets and trunk shows, and start to introduce and get to know the people in your community that are already kind of doing things like this, because they're going to let you know about other events where you can sell your products and services. Check and see if there's any like meetups, meetup.com. Check and see what's local in your area, and that's meetup.com. Check and see what's in your local area, and see if there's if your accessories are women focused. See what other type of events that are going on specifically for women, and reach out to the organizer and see how maybe you can do a display or sell some of your products with them. I know you talked about online marketing, but you kind of got to get people to know about you first. And it's a lot less competition if you focus in the local areas in the fashion changers in there. Check out the boutiques. Google the boutiques in your area. Write them all down. Get a list of at least 10, okay? Find out who the owner is and try to set an appointment with them. A lot of the marketing, guys, is actually picking up the phone and talking to people. I know some people want to do a lot of online stuff because it feels like if you put stuff online, then you could just sit back and do nothing. And that doesn't quite work that way, because people still have to come to your website to know about you. So you end up spending all this money on a website and it's crickets. Nobody's going there. So you need to start shaking hands and kissing babies, guys. You got to go out here and meet the people that are in your industry and part of your customers so that you can get your name out there. And that is free, okay? You don't have to pay for that. You want to show people what you have going on. But for Andrea, I don't know if I'm saying it right, and I apologize if I am saying it wrong. I would recommend that you do get on Instagram of most places. Instagram is a good place to be if you have visually focused type of business. Excuse me. So if you're a photographer, if you're any type of creative person, if you, in the cases of accessories, clothes, or anything that will look great with pictures, you really want to check out Instagram and start to market there. Check out what hashtags, Google this, okay? Check out what hashtags are associated with fashion. So when you put pictures up, you're going to add those hashtags to the pictures that you put up of your accessories. And that gets people to come and see more of your accessories, okay? That helps get your name out. It doesn't necessarily convert to sales. So that's why I want you to do some of the local stuff in your area so you can get people to start buying this stuff immediately. Give me 2 seconds. I'm sorry, my throat got itchy. All right, so I hope that was helpful. Again, if you have any questions, you can either, maybe I should check the email. You can send a reply back to the Still Hello Series email and ask a question that way, or you can type them in the YouTube box. Okay, I got one question that emailed in, and I'll come back to that later. So the next one is ways to increase book sales. This question was asked from Wynn, and Wynn is really phenomenal. Like, she is so awesome. She's on like her second book. When I went to your website, really phenomenal. I got some recommendations for your website too, but I won't bore you with that right now. Here's a couple of things I'll talk about with book sales, and I'll tell you a lot of the mistakes that I had made that hopefully if you are in the book writing process now, you won't make them. When I know that one of your books is already out and you have another one coming out shortly. So what I would recommend anyone interested in writing a book is start to gather email addresses and names of people that are interested right now. So you can do that by blogging or that type of thing, but it's a lot easier to market and sell books when you've built a database of people who are interested. So you can do some pre-sales before the book is even out. And for those of you who want to raise money to actually do the printing, pre-sales are great for that. And let me show you a website. Let me do a screen share really quickly. Let me show you a website that's really good for that. Okay, so this is, I think it's Gumroad. I might be lying. Yes. So this is gumroad.com, and if you have anything digital that you want to sell, this is a really, really good option because they basically accept payment and then they automatically deliver the electronic product to your clients. If you're selling a PDF, the thing that I really love about it is it'll put the name of the person who bought it inside the PDF. It'll basically do a stamp. So if anyone's trying to like bootleg your book and sell it somewhere else, it'll have their name associated with it so you can kind of figure out who it was who did it. But anything you want to sell, whether it's videos, whether it's movies, whether it's a book or a class, Gumroad is a great option to sell things. And Gumroad also allows you to do pre-sales. So if you have a situation where you have a book and you want to do pre-sales and you're doing it in a digital format, you can use Gumroad to do pre-sales. So people who will pre-sale, it doesn't necessarily charge their card at that time, but when you're ready to release, it'll go ahead and charge their card. So this will also help fund the printing aspect of it as well. And when I talk to many authors, everyone's excited about ebooks, and ebooks are definitely great. But sometimes when you're speaking or you're going to various events, you need a physical book because you want people to buy the books immediately. If you want them to remember to go on a website when they get home and buy your book, it's not going to happen. So be sure that you still have physical books whenever you're going to a physical location. So I wanted to show you Gumroad because it does pre-sales, and I wanted to address that because some people had that type of question. So if you want to do pre-sales, you could check out Gumroad, or you could do pre-sales on your website. Gumroad just makes it a lot easier. So build your audience before the book comes out, because when you build it before the book comes out, then it's not as much stress. Like I had to run and try to, get on these public appearances, get on the news, go to bloggers, all these different places after the book was out. And your book typically has about a 6-month lifespan. Just being honest with you. You got about 6 months to push out as much as you possibly can with that book. And it's not just you. That's actually kind of normal. So you could do a variety of things to increase awareness. when your book is going to launch, let people know about it ahead of time. I know I'm talking about books that haven't come out yet, but I'll talk about the books that are already out in a second. When a movie is coming out, they let you know like 3 months in advance, sometimes years in advance, as to what the specific date that this movie is coming out. They do that for a reason. You want to do the same thing as it relates to your books. So once again, we talked about finding your ideal client. You want to make sure that you find out what blogs have your ideal client so that you can reach out to them and ask if you can be featured or provide some type of educational information to their readers around the same time your book comes out, okay? Some people do it prior. I don't necessarily recommend that because you want people to remember and your book isn't out yet. You want people to act immediately, and they can't do that if you're doing all your PR now and your book's not ready. So I would definitely recommend you want to schedule everything so that all the launches are happening around the same amount of time, so that if your book comes out on July 17th, everything on the internet as it relates to blogs and media appearances is saying July 17th. Okay, so that's what helps kind of get people amped up to go ahead and purchase the book. So I hope that makes sense. That's what I have there. So also what I recommend that you do is, here's the thing with Amazon. If you sell books on Amazon or other third-party websites like the one that I dislike, Ex Libris, they've got a lot of people stressed out. But if you're going to go to these other third-party places to sell your book, the thing you have to remember is that you are not going to get your customers' contact information. And that doesn't help when you want to sell them other products or let them know about other events that you're going to attend or other books you're going to write or that are coming out. You don't have any of their contact information. So every time you're coming out with a product, you have to start the wheel all over again. So whatever your business is, you want to be able to start to capture the people that are interested. So I hope that helps a bit. So turning your ebook. Okay. So for Wins specifically, I'm not sure if your book is an ebook format. I would recommend, if it isn't, take the PDF and put that on your website, and maybe tell people that they can download, the first 2 chapters for free. And the reason why you're doing that is so that you can capture their email address and start to build a list and a database, so that anytime you're doing anything, whether it's a speaking event, whether it's a Google Hangout, whatever it is, that you can email a good group of people to let them know that you're doing this. If you sell your book and you don't have any control over it, you can't start to build this customer database. And it's easier to sell to people who've already purchased from you. As it relates to your book, I'm not all the way sure who your ideal customer is. So it's an autobiography of Wen's just amazing story. She's such an amazing woman. You want to figure out who your ideal client would be. And autobiographies are really rough, because if people don't know you, they need to know why they need to buy a book about you, because you want to know why strangers would, like for me, if I wrote an autobiography on me, like I don't really know who would care about me. So you have to find out who your ideal client is. If there's any non-profit organizations, I know you do a lot of work with cerebral palsy and that type of thing, find out the non-profit organizations that support that, and see what kind of conferences they have, and reach out to them to see if you can speak for them. And of course, when you speak for people, they always allow you to bring your books, and you can sell a ton of books. So when it comes to ways to increase your book sales, you want ways to increase your personal branding, because this is an autobiography. So anything you can do, whether it's blogs that are associated with your ideal customer, and I need you to tell me more as to who your ideal customer is. And if you're watching this live, feel free to type it in the comment section on the YouTube comments, or you can send an email back to the Stiletto series and I can answer it that way. And as I'm saying that, I should see if emails are coming in. Is that what I have? Are we good on time? So I hope that helps. If that makes sense, let me know who your ideal customer is, and maybe I can help a little bit more with that. But ideally, you want to find the blogs and the various nonprofit organizations that associate with your ideal customer, and then contact them about speaking opportunities. It would also be great if you do some virtual book signings. Virtual book signings are awesome because they're free, and you can basically do something like a Google Hangout or a YouTube Live event like I'm doing now, and you can, do Q&A sections, and basically as people start buying your book online and you see that in real time, they can chat in you what they want the book to say. You can sign the book, you can give them a personal thank you. We can have this major, live virtual book tour event. So think about some creative ways. I haven't read your book, so I'm not sure what are some additional hooks that you can put in there to get people to buy the book. But send me some comments and let me know a little bit more information so I can kind of try to help with that. Let's see. Yeah, I think that works. And so we're running over the 30-minute timeline, and I'm going to let you guys go about your business. I hope these things were helpful. These questions were helpful. If they are helpful, give me a thumbs up on the video so I can know if it was helpful. If we should be doing Q&A, maybe once every other week, then I can consider trying to think about doing that. Let me know what would help, because I want to help you guys. I want you to get your businesses going and that type of thing. So continue to send me your emails and your feedback on the questions you have, and I'll just get on the webcam and do a quick Q&A to hopefully help. So yeah, so our 30 minutes is up. We're bleeding over, but if you have any questions, you know what to do. Put the comments in YouTube, or go ahead and reply back at the Stiletto Series email. It's been awesome, ladies, and I will see you next time. Thanks.